Hey, and thanks for joining me on this edition of the podcast. I'm your host, Jason Brown, the co founder of SERPWoo and the inventor of SERP tracking. And today I want to talk about something that's more related to business or productivity, your lifestyle, and it does bleed into marketing. And that is this whole argument that done is better than perfection. So I'm going to dive in on this episode about how this is just totally flawed, is not good logic, and it's actually an apples to oranges comparison. And actually, why perfectionism trumps just getting something 80% done or hiring somebody to do something that's 80% done, and how that can actually be impactful within your business or your lifestyle, and even some examples that go into marketing. So, join me as we jump into this and let's talk about it. So, there's this argument that getting stuff done is better than getting it perfected. And I tell you, I have to laugh at that statement. It's not apples to apples. It's a flawed argument. So the argument is that getting something done is better than getting something perfected, when in reality, the argument should be getting something done is better than not getting something done. Even if we talk about getting something done is better than perfected, I can blow that out of the water. If I'm getting my brakes worked on my car and they just get done, it's at 80%. They're not perfected, meaning that they didn't service the brake lines and check for leaks. Maybe they haven't changed out the brake fluid every 3 or 4 years. Maybe the brake fluid's low. Maybe the brake pads aren't in tip-top shape, but they were okay. They were just 80% okay. They're not perfected. Maybe they weren't installed with anti-seize compound or whatever. I would much rather have my brakes perfected than just done. And I would rather have them done than not done also. So, I know it's a little bit of a wordplay here, but this whole idea that done is better than perfected is such a flawed argument. Let's just say done is better than not done. And even then it's relative. Are we talking something that's not important, or are we talking something that's important like brakes that, those need to be perfected rather than just done? This whole idea should be just done is better than not done, and that maybe that 80% is better than perfected. I would have a much better outlook on that than the argument that done is better than perfected. But even if we switch to done is better than not done, or that 80% is better than perfected, I'm still going to blow that out of the water with these arguments coming forward. So I first want to say that I totally get the whole concept of done is better than not done, 80% is better than perfected. When we're talking about certain situations, if we're talking about you as a business owner trying to grow your business and handling every task by yourself and being a perfectionist about it, and how that limits and bottlenecks you, and that potentially you need to hire employees that can do it at 80% of what you can do so that you can focus on growing the business. I totally get that concept, okay? And I totally get the concept that, it getting done is better than not done for a lot of things as well. But honestly, this permeates into all kinds of things that are not thought about and can hinder your business and actually cause you to fail. So, if we look at, an example, let's just talk about marketing. Let's talk about pay-per-click ads. There's been plenty of times where I've taken over for a company. They've had 3 or 4 people running their pay-per-click ads on Google Ads or on Facebook or any of these other platforms. And all 3 or 4 of these people were mediocre. They did the job at 80%. They were not experts. They were not perfectionists. They didn't think about these little details and how it might impact them 2 or 3 months from now. They just basically showed up and did the job. They did the 80%. They did what a lot of these people preach. Hey, if you're the business owner, hire somebody in that can do it at 80% capacity and then grow the business. That's basically the example that these three or four people were running the paid ads. And then I was able to come in and start questioning a lot of their decisions. Why was this decision made? Why was this ad not tested? Why was this wording not done properly? Why were we not expanding into new campaign types? Why were we not adjusting schedules or locations? Basically, why were we not doing the other 20% past your 80% capacity? Why were we not perfecting this? And this literally took a business that had three to four people running pay per click campaigns at 80%, at barely breaking even and barely meeting payroll, to essentially making $40 million within the next 12 months and being on one of the fastest growing advertising networks within their industry, being in the Inc. 5000 list, which I know isn't a huge accomplishment, but focusing on that 20% actually turned the company around. And I've seen this thousands of times, actually. I've seen it in my own campaigns, I've seen it in other people's campaigns. And that's just in marketing. We haven't even got into business or into other areas of the business that this could be applied to. So, just doing things and hiring people in at 80% is not good enough. Not only can it stagnate your business and not grow it to the level that you want, but it can actually be a domino impact, a domino effect, essentially, into other areas of the business, to where you get to a point of time where you just throw your hands up and maybe give up. So I'll give you two examples of how this can affect you in other parts of business. So I just told you a story about a company that I helped, where I came in and perfected what three or four other campaign managers could not do. So now let's look at it in different angles. Okay. So I'll tell you a personal story. For a long time, I did my own bookkeeping, I did my own taxes. It was something I actually enjoyed doing. I wanted to learn how my business operated, how these numbers were calculated. Numbers meaning profit and loss, different statement types, how my money was doing. I was actually interested in that. So I did my own bookkeeping, I did my own taxes. And that was me trying to learn something and do something. And the bottom line was I just didn't have time for it. And I didn't think I was particularly doing a great job at it, meaning I was making a lot of money, but I was paying a lot of taxes also. And I'm not going to get into an argument about how much taxes one should pay, but I definitely felt like me putting my time into it took away from the business as far as growing the business, doing the bookkeeping. And I feel that at a certain point, I understood these numbers and I definitely had a firm grasp of how accounting works, but I wasn't the best person for the job. So, knowing that I had a time constraint that was taken away from business growth, and also that I wasn't the best person for the job, I just followed the done is better than perfected route, and I just hired a CPA that I felt was competent, and just basically let her do the 80% of the job while I tried to grow the business. That whole argument, done is better than perfected. Hire somebody in that can do it at 80% of your capacity at least. And I thought I would be great. So I let this person do my bookkeeping, do my taxes, and stuff wasn't proactive. For 5 years, I let this person do my taxes. It was more reactive than proactive. I wasn't getting like updates. Hey, this tax law changed. Let's try this to save you some money. Let's look into this. Let's look into that. And basically, that's what I dealt with for 5 years, letting somebody else do it at 80% of what I could do. And I really felt like I was, paying this person and having them as a service and as an expense, but I wasn't really getting that much out of it. Yeah, I freed up my time to focus on my business, but where is the benefit? Where is me saving on taxes or deferring my taxes and tax strategies and strategies for growth from a tax standpoint? Those just weren't out there. So in the 6th year, I decided to dive back into taxes again. But instead of me doing the bookkeeping and me going through all of the numbers myself, I decided to actually research tax strategies. And what I would do is, go through YouTube and look at other people that talked about tax strategies for saving money, stuff that they do in their business. I actually went and hired 5 other CPAs and tax attorneys on like a retainer type basis and just asked them what they do for other clients. Asked them what they could do for me in my particular situation. And I got a ton of great feedback, ton of great strategies that were never brought to me from this person that I had hired for 5 years prior. And that's that 20% of getting to perfection. If I wouldn't have done that, if I wouldn't have jumped in and cared and wanted to perfect this, because nobody's going to care as much as your business or about yourself as you. If I wouldn't have done that, this wouldn't have been perfected. And it's still not perfected, but I'm a lot further along than I was just hiring somebody in and letting them operate at 80% or the done is better than perfected type of mentality. I learned things like, for years, I let my kids help me within my business. Never paid them for it though. I mean, sure, I would, give them some money out, out of pocket sometimes, but as a father, you're feeding, clothing, buying their toys for them, buying their iPhone, doing things for them as a father already. So helping out around the house, I didn't feel like really needed to be rewarded. And in my business, I would ask them to help me out too. Like maybe I would ask them, hey, can you edit this video for me or be the cameraman for this video for me since you have an iPhone and then do the editing and upload it for me too. Just little things like that. Plus I kind of wanted to get them involved in working and into entrepreneurship as well. So I always involved them. And what I ended up finding out as a tax strategy was that because my kids were under 18 and that I was a small business and that I was the owner and the father of the children, actually, I could actually pay my children and have that expensed. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, oh, well, yeah, you should have known that because you can hire any employee and expense that. This is totally different. This isn't like an actual employee relationship. This is actually a tax strategy that is set up by the IRS for small business owners who are the parents who have their children help them. This is a whole other tax strategy than just expensing payroll. So if you do know about this, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, and you're a parent and you're a small business, this is definitely something that you should look into. It saved me a lot of money. Bottom line, you can pay your children up to, I think in this year, we're 2022. Yes, I had to look to verify that. You can actually pay each child that you employ up to $12,500. I could be off by a few hundred on that. $12,500. And not only is it a write off for you, but because it's below the standard deduction, your children do not pay taxes on that. Now, there could be state taxes depending on the state that you live in, but there is no federal tax. There is no FICA, which is your Medicare and Social Security, if it's under the standard deduction. And it actually goes a little bit further on that too. So if you want to think of it as a parent, if I buy my child an iPhone, that might be a $1,300 purchase. In order for me to have that $1,300, I would have had to made. I'm not that great at math. I would have had to made more than that $1,300 gross because I would have had to pay taxes on that. So that $1,300, I would have actually had to make probably $1,700 maybe, and then pay taxes on that $1,700 to have the $1,300 to buy the iPhone. Now I can just employ my children, pay them under $12,500, write that off as an expense in my business. I get a deduction there. Now my child has $12,500. They can go buy their own iPhone, and they haven't paid taxes on their $12,500, and that iPhone is actually $1,300 now, not the $1,700 or $1,800 that I would have had to have made, paid taxes on, and then deducted it myself. And there's a lot more benefits there. to that type of hiring situation. But the bottom line is, I talked to a lot of other people and I got the remaining 20% out of that 80 that my CPA was doing, and it benefited me greatly. And this is something that you can do outside of taxes. This could be just business strategies in general. This could be marketing. This could be anything you wanted it to be, as far as lifestyle and travel or anything you're interested into. This is a point where the 80%, while it was getting done incorrectly and not optimally. And actually, for many years, I just thought, hey, I'm going to throw up my hands, not be a small business owner no more, because it seems like the more money I make, the more I'm paying in taxes, and I'm just breaking even. I'm not actually having a ton of profit to enjoy this business life and be a business owner. It's just a lot of headache. And while I definitely like making more money and paying more taxes, there's also a whole point to doing this. The whole point isn't to run around in a hamster wheel. You're supposed to enjoy life also. So being able to move from 80%, which could have at one point frustrated me and had me throw my hands up in the air and quit, and moving to perfection actually has helped me enjoy my life and enjoy what I do and have a new outlook. So, a second area, I've talked about working for a company and coming in and replacing 3 or 4 employees and moving that 80 to perfection. I talked about taxes, moving that from 80 to perfection, where I hired somebody to come in and be my CPA, and they operated at 80% or done. And then I had to move it to perfection. So this next section is me being a business owner, um, or me doing marketing as an affiliate marketer. So this is one where I took on all the work myself. And this is basically an example that I'm going to play out. But, let's take Facebook ads. I'm an affiliate marketer. I'm running ads for, some weight loss product or teeth whitening or any product really that you can be an affiliate for, dating ads even. And I'm just trying to get stuff done. I'm trying to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. That's basically the done is better than perfected ideology, which is, just get something at 80% capacity and, see what sticks and what works. That's a lot better than perfection. So the way that this ideology can permeate into other areas and impact your business as a whole past just this advertising, I'm going to walk through here. So, I instead, as an affiliate, I might just be like, hey, I just need to get something working. I'm going to go to one affiliate network, ask my affiliate manager what's working, and take whatever he tells me. I'm not going to look at 4 or 5 other affiliate networks. I'm not going to talk to more people. I'm not going to use spy tools. I'm not going to think about this and jot notes down. I'm just going to take what my affiliate manager tells me at one network and run this. That's that done is better than perfected method. That's that 80% is better than perfected. And then once I get on Facebook, I'm going to set up a campaign, and I'm not going to worry about the best audiences that I could be picking. I'm just going to do the 80%. I'm going to go broad to the geolocation that I'm allowed, and I'm going to randomly pick 2 or 3 interests, and that's it. And then instead of setting up my campaign perfectly, I'm just going to set up a campaign, one ad group. Instead of putting 3 or 4 ads in it, I'm just going to put 2. I'm just trying to get done. I'm not trying to perfect anything. And then I'm just going to run it. I'm not going to check on it daily and tweak it to perfection. I'm just going to run it. That's that whole done, seeing what sticks is better than perfected. Or maybe I hired somebody and I told them to do this just to get it done, just to see what works. And what you're going to find is that campaign's probably going to fail. And when it fails, you don't know why it failed. Let's walk through this real quick. Did it fail because you used one network, one affiliate network? Did it fail because you only used that one offer? Did it fail because you set up the campaign and just basically went broad, maybe one geo, two or three interest groups? Did it fail because you used 2 ads instead of 5 and a proper split test was not done? Did it fail because you didn't look at it each day to tweak it and optimize it and fiddle with it? Now, I'm not saying you have to be obsessed with this, but that's that whole done is better than perfection mentality, that 80% is better than perfected. So you don't know why it failed. And then you continuously rotate through campaigns like that. And maybe after 5 months and thousands of dollars of wasted in ad spend, you have no data that you can rely on. It's not statistically relevant. You throw your hands up and say affiliate marketing is a joke. It's a scam. You could say the same thing about cryptocurrency. There's ways that you can fail at cryptocurrency, not perfecting your entry and exit points. There's so many things wrong here. If that same Facebook campaign, if I were to go back, moving to that extra 20%, that perfection, you should have looked at 5 networks for that offer. Maybe that dating offer, that one dating offer you picked at that one network, that offer isn't good to begin with, no matter what your affiliate manager told you. Maybe you should have looked at 5 affiliate networks and looked at 2 or 3 dating offers per network. So if that's 2 offers per network at 5 networks, that would have been 10 offers that you could have rotated in on your landing page as a split test. But you didn't do that because done was better than perfection. That 80% of hiring somebody in to do this for you, their 80% was better than your perfection. And that's why you didn't test 10 offers at 5 different networks. You only tested 1 at one network. Also, when you set up your campaign, you should have really dived into many ad groups that all specifically targeted certain interest each ad group or certain geolocations. Maybe you could have found out that people in Canada that have a certain interest worked out a lot better than somebody in Germany that had a different interest. But because you only picked one geolocation, because you only had one offer that accepted that geolocation, and you went broad or you went with a couple other, 2 or 3 interests total, you never had that data. So you couldn't tweak and perfect later. Also, because you used 2 ads instead of maybe 5 ads per ad group, you just didn't have an ad that resonated good enough. The copy wasn't good enough. The image wasn't good enough. Maybe when you started the ad late at night, it didn't get the CTR that was needed, the engagement that was needed for Facebook to really keep pushing more traffic to it. And essentially, at the end of the day, end of the week, end of the month, this was a failure. You have no data to go back on. You have nothing that's usable or statistically relevant. You rinse and repeat this done is better than perfected mentality, and you're thousands of dollars in the hole, and you think that affiliate marketing is a scam. And you give up on your dream, you give up on your business, and you go take a 9-to-5 flipping burgers somewhere. Hey, listen, I've got nothing against people that work a 9-to-5 or that flip burgers, but I'm telling you, this is how this can affect your business. Now, let's move away from this being paid Facebook campaigns. This just being SEO content for your SEO website that you're ranking on Google. If you aren't perfecting that article and your keywords, you might find yourself doing done is better than perfected, 80% is better than perfected, and getting slapped by an algorithm 6 months from now. This can impact so many areas of your life because the old adage is true. How you do anything is how you do everything. And if you're just working off this done is better than perfected, that 80% is better than perfected, that's how you're doing everything potentially in your life. Maybe that's why your relationships have fallen apart. Your health is terrible. Your finances are awful. You're not living your best life. And that's just an idea that I'm not willing to accept. It's worth it for me to put in 4 more hours to perfect something, or put in a full extra week to perfect my funnel or my business strategy, or even 3 or 4 months put in to perfect my tax strategy, because it pays huge dividends when done correctly. And when not done correctly, yeah, you could still get a huge payoff, but the odds are stacked against you. And then that's going to permeate in other areas. And you might find yourself 6 months from now with an algorithm slap, or a business that's failed, or thousands of dollars in debt, and you're having to give up on your dream. So, those are just three examples of why I think perfection is better than done, or perfection is better than the 80% of you hiring somebody in for. I could go really deep and make arguments for any rebuttals. I'm not going to do that here. I might do it on other videos, but it's something to think about. I think what's really important is, again, that old adage, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I'm not willing to live at 80%. I'm not willing to do anything at 80%. I don't want people that work for me doing things at 80%, because in the example of my CPA, that could have really impacted me without me stepping in and changing that. And, that's really your role as the steward of your life, or the steward of your business. You need to be making sure things are perfected and tweaked and improved on. And living by this whole done is better than perfected, or 80% is a better choice, is just a fallacy. It's a lie. And if you believe that, I feel really bad for you, because if you're in my field, you're going to get crushed. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and I'll see you on the next one.